us earlier today that he would start Anthony Bonner, but he stays with the rookie from Notre Dame, Monty Williams, in the starting lineup for the 23rd consecutive game. Now for the introduction of the Detroit Pistons. To the Pistons, we are set for the start of the second half of the season, or as Grant Hill expressed it the other day. He said second semester, and then corrected himself. The New York Knicks have won 18 of the last 22 games, and they have won 9 of the last 11 on the road. They've allowed only 90 points to 4 of the last 5 opponents, coming off that very strong effort against the Indiana Pacers last Wednesday at Market Square. For the season, they are allowing only 95 points per game. There is a canned Pat Riley following a trip along with the family to the Caribbean. Get some rest during the course of the All-Star break. The officials tonight, Joe Crawford, Lee Jones, and Ron Alessia.
Well, the Pistons have won 6 of their last 8 home games. Their personnel is a lot better than the record. This is not an easy one for the Knicks, particularly with Mark West back to clog up that middle a lot more than the Pistons had in the form of a presence in New York.
And Don Chaney is going with his 20th different starting lineup. Mark Macon in the backcourt with Joe Dumars. He has been going with a recent addition to the roster, Miguel Knight, as the starter at point guard, but Macon and Dumars in the backcourt, so Dumars will be at the point. The Knicks control the opening tip. Derek Harper played by Mark Macon, who is a very fine defensive player. Monty Williams gets it to an open Charles Smith, and the rebound is handled by Terry Mills. Joe Dumars coming off his All-Star game performance, played by John Stark. Mills, who has the outside touch, gets it to Hill. And it's an air ball thrown up by Grant Hill.
Be an interesting matchup for Charles Smith now with Hill. Charles is going big, taking him down low, got the position, then went away from the basket, but succeeded with that soft touch.
Charles Smith had a very strong finish against Indiana last Wednesday. 7 points, the final 7 minutes to help turn the game. Mark West. And away from the ball, we get a whistle. Lee Jones with the call on Monty Williams.
You know, from the Pistons' perspective, Marv, this is the beginning, in a sense, of a new year. the long weekend for most of the players gives them a rare chance to clear out their heads and feel better about themselves. And they have some fine players on this team. They just haven't performed well, a lot due to nagging injuries that has kept a lot of people away for quite a part of the season. John Starks leading Patrick Ewing. That's not a Ewing move, a one-handed handle of a pass like that. Dumars able to shake off Starks. Macon. Mark Macon in his 4th year out of Temple. Able to tie the game at 2. Only Macon's 4th start of the season. Getting a legal defense call, and one of the things that's held him back is the opposite of what we just saw. He's a 40% shooter from the field this year, but normally doesn't shoot the ball as beautifully as he just did. Hopper brushing by the pick of Smith. The pass intercepted by West. Mark West able to make it back after missing 14 games following arthroscopic knee surgery. A shaky shooting here at the start. That counts, and the foul. Nice move by West, keeping the ball away from Patrick Ewing, avoiding the block and drawing the foul. Starks picks it up. West missing 14 games because of the injury, but he will change things now for Detroit tonight. He's a very strong inside presence. Not strong enough, though, for the Phoenix Suns to keep him. His last team. But they'd like him right now, Marv. Yeah, they made the decision. Made several decisions, and the Suns now going with the combination of Dan Shays and Joe Klein. Well, they thought they had Danny Manning to fill in at certain spots against a particular matchup. Foul is called on West. Mark West spent some time with Phoenix, with Cleveland earlier, had stints with Milwaukee and Dallas. Starks for 3. And rebounded by Mills. Slow start by both teams. Pistons 4 and the Knicks 2 with 2.5 gone by. There's West stepping around Ewing. Now that looked like a flashback to what we saw Sunday for the All-Star game in Phoenix.
Patrick was a stationary defender on that play.
Pistons with a 6-2 advantage. Ewing felt he was fouled by West, goes right at him, and it's rebounded by Ewing. Charles Smith able to curl his way in. You sense the lack of a crowd presence here, John?
Getting an echo sense, Marv. In fact, I'm going to ask you to speak a little lower. I think you're distracting some of the many fans here.
Perhaps the players also here at the start as Mills extends to an 8-4 lead. Well, even in the heyday of the Detroit Pistons, when the team first moved here from the Silverdome, there was a problem with crowd reaction. Trying to rev it up right here, you can hear in the background. And we're looking at a club that's 17 and 29, so it is difficult to hear the response. Dumars for 3. Smith with the rebound. In the Pistons' last game just prior to the All-Star break, they were blown out. A very poor performance. Ewing not able to hit, rebounded by Mills. They lost to Charlotte 106-78 here at the Palace. Hill lost it. Starks on a 4-on-2 for 3.
John is falling back on that jump shot instead of going with the flow of the shot. His body staying with the shot.
Mills with an air ball on the 3-point attempt.
Maybe you ought to blow the whistle, Marvin, start this thing again, you know?
Here is Hopper wide open. The Knicks are now 2 of 10 from the field. Dumars with the step. And Smith trying to back tap it, knocked it out of bounds. So it will be Piston ball. And thankfully, a timeout has been called. A very shaky start.
The ring Rangers are up north to take on Alexander McDooley and the Buffalo Sabres. Wednesday night, right here on MSG.
Universal Tool of Mastic, Long Island's leader in tool sales, service, and rentals, is proud to bring you the leader in power tools, Bosch Power Tools. They let you cut quicker, drill faster, and they have the best jackhammer in the world. Bosch is the name real pros use, and Universal Tool is where they go to get Bosch toughness, Bosch reliability, Bosch power. And remember, Universal Tool delivers. Located in Mastic and their new location in Farmingdale. Call 420-1420.
Exciting finals of this major track and field event here on MSG. New York City's best and foremost scholastic female athletes compete for the Jackie Joyner Kersey Trophy and more. See determination, commitment, and athletic excellence in action. It's the highlights from the Colgate Women's Games, the stepping stone for future Olympic hopefuls. Monday on MSG.
Back in uniform for the New York Knicks, activated from the injured list, missed the last 20 games after undergoing surgery on his left hand. As it turns out, the last team he faced, the Detroit Pistons, injured the hand in the game against the Pistons back on December the 28th at the Garden. And to make room on the roster, Greg Kite has been waived. Oh, look out. Hill in the collision with Stark. And a foul called on Hill. John, we have just received word that Clyde Drexler has been traded. And he's been traded to the Houston Rockets. So Clyde, who played his college ball at the University of Houston, is now a Rocket. Drexler and Tracy Murray to the Rockets in a deal for Otis Thorpe and future draft picks. Clyde Drexler to the defending NBA champion Rockets, making off the mark, and the rebound run down by Williams.
Interesting that Portland would send him to a team they're going to see a lot of.
The Knicks face the Rockets Sunday afternoon at the Garden. That's a terrific trade for the Rockets for the immediate.
Five Slammer Jammer reunited. Marv with Olajuwon. Boy, that's going to be a happy duo of Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler.
And you wonder what that will do to the rest of the Houston backcourt. You have Vernon Maxwell sitting out the suspension. West was tied up. You have Kenny Smith unhappy about playing time. Sam Cassell got off to a slow start. But Drexler certainly rejuvenates the offense for the Rockets. Hard to completely evaluate the trade because we don't know what the draft picks are as we look down the road. Otis Thorpe, certainly a solid player, very instrumental in the championship last year. So he goes to Portland.
Boy, the arrow points to Vernon Maxwell, though, after he comes back from his suspension. It appears that he'll come off the bench, and there's an ego problem there, potentially, one would think, although he has a much longer career ahead of him than Clyde Drexler does.
But for the immediate, looking as Brad Hill is able to hit, but it won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. Monty Williams called for his second foul. In terms of immediate impact, it projects the Rockets well, you consider them solid contenders anyway, and not to look past the loss of a guy like Otis Thorpe. But this will be I think, a major point of discussion right throughout the night at NBA arenas right throughout the country as Charles Smith is able to hit. And the Knicks are now down by 2.
Well, it brings an excitement and a chemistry to Houston, Marv, and it gives them an injection that would seem to be very positive Because you would think that you're going to have a very happy, or they're going to have a very happy Clyde Drexler now with them.
And Hill tripped up.
Following the next, Anthony Bonner, his first for team's point.
Anthony Bonner, who had just checked in, called for the foul. Patrick Ewing missing his first 5 shots. 5:25 remaining in this opening quarter.
One-on-one operation for Joe Dumars working on Starks. They're staying with it.
Hill. Grant Hill with the shot clock down to 4 gives the Pistons a 10-6 lead. Shot clock down to 3 as Starks unleashes, and West with the rebound.
Joe Dumars, an outstanding defender. John Starks couldn't beat him.
And Terry Mills puts the Pistons up 12-6. The Knicks 3 for 13 from the field. Pistons only 6 of 17. Aiken going for the steal. Hoffer is open. Comes back to Hoffer. Charles Smith 3 out of 4. The rest of the Knicks 0 for 10. It has been a dreadful start for the Knicks here at the Palace.
Pistons 12, Smith 6 is really the scary truth here.
And Ewing stripped. Knicks with 12 on the shot clock. The Knicks with only 6 points with 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Ewing came up short. Looked like West got a piece of it. And Ewing has missed his first 6 shots. Pat Riley thinking of the beaches of the Caribbean. How nice it was bringing the thoughts of the game against the Pacers with him to the 4-day break.
How the days change from one to the next.
But we are very early as Mills fires. And the Pistons now lead 14-6. And the Knicks want a timeout with 3.5 remaining in the first quarter.
Familiar as blue jeans, Hollywood chase scenes, as timeless as pop flies, and you know who's blue eyes. It's always been true.
Just for you, a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
It's always been true.
Every day in 32 countries and over 300 cities, Delta Airlines takes off to the world of facts and figures, budgets, and bottom lines. And when the job is done, we bring you back to the world of mommies and daddies, boyfriends, girlfriends, and best friends. Delta Airlines.
Your Tri-State Quality Ford dealers are celebrating America's leaders with the President's Day sales event. We're kicking off the selling season with big deals on America's best sellers. If you drive less than 10,000 miles a year, you can lease a U.S. Ford for just $186 a month for 24 months with $1,210 down. Or choose between $4.9 financing or $600 cash back. With deals like this, nobody outsells Ford, and nobody ever will. Hurry to your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer's President's Day sales event now.
Well, the Detroit Pistons with a 14-6 lead on the New York Knicks. There's Grant Hill, fresh from his appearance last night on David Letterman's show.
Speaking of your family, is it true
that your father is one of a group of guys trying to buy the Washington Bullets?
Yes, well, yeah, he is, and he'd like to eventually own an NBA franchise, and because we're from Washington, the Bullets are a team that he's looking at, and I'm very excited. I hope he does get it so I can play for him.
Now, what would that be like, really playing for your dad as an owner? Would that worry you? Would that be frightening for you?
Well, I know in contract negotiations, I'd probably, I'd probably be on the upper hand, because I'd have my mother negotiating.
I don't know, Grant going with prepared material? Is that reverse tampering, incidentally, on the part of Hill?
It sounded pretty good, except for the part I'd like to play for him. I think he's got 0 chances of leaving this franchise.
Anthony Mason getting credit for that field goal as Hill is able to get the step. A moment ago, Mason had the ball goaltended away, so the Pistons now lead 16-8. Here's Ewing off a double team. Rebound Mason. Grant Hill's all-star teammates giving him the business at halftime, although as the Knicks shooting continues going south, but now Stark's able to hit on the follow, and the Knicks are 5 of 18 from the field. Grant Hill said he was very, very nervous, overwhelmed by the whole scene at the All-Star game in Phoenix, and his East teammates poring over the stat sheet at halftime, seeing that he had 8 shots taken in the first half, more than anyone else on either squad. That's Hill called for the offensive foul.
Yeah, he said he was nervous before the game, during the game, and after the game.
He had an upset stomach. Actually could not play for a portion of the second half. Patrick Ewing sitting down. Ewing with an 0 for 7 here in the first quarter. We come up on 2 minutes remaining, and the Pistons lead 16-10.
Charles Smith now obviously moving to the center position.
And Smith stripped as he tried to put it on the floor. Good play by Macon. Dumars threw it right back out, and the foul is called.
That's the kind of foul that a big man should never, ever commit. That was top of the circle. The guy throws a head fake. Let him shoot the ball. Put your hand up. You don't have to try and block the shot from 24 feet away.
Grant Hill sitting down, replaced by Raphael Addison, a 4-year man from Syracuse, comes off a career-high 25-point game against Charlotte last Wednesday in 26 minutes, but that a game that saw extensive garbage time with the Pistons rocked by the Hornets 106-78. The previous game last Tuesday, Detroit came from 18 down to defeat the Bullets. That made it 5 straight wins at home for Detroit. Then they were beaten by Charlotte. Grant Hill sitting down, 2 out of 5 from the field, 4 points. Mason, played by Mills. Smith, and handled by Addison. So Addison, Mills, and West up front. Dumars and Macon in the backcourt. 8-point lead for Detroit with 1:20 to go in this first quarter. Hubert Davis will come on for the Knicks. Jump ball is called. John Starks felt it was last touched by the Pistons. And Davis comes on for Starks. John 1 for 5 from the field. And now Pat Riley makes a change. He sends Starks back and takes out Harper. Derek 0 for 3. And Oliver Miller will check in. That is not a pretty picture for the Knicks. 5 of 21. 24% shooting here in the first quarter.
Charles Smith had the quick 3 field goals.
Starks has 1, and Mason has 1, and that's it.
Always a concern for coaches following the All-Star break, but all teams are on equal terms. But the Knicks have come out frigid in this opening quarter. Mills, and the Pistons now lead 20-10.
Mills must get pressure on him. He's got to have a hand in his face, an arm waving at him, something other than a body standing next to him. Got to put pressure on a good shooter like Mills.
Adjustment of the 24-second clock. the reason for the delay. John, did I wish you a happy Valentine's Day?
No, you did, Marv. Thank you very much. I'm sure you got out the appropriate card. That is, if you have a Valentine, which I'm hopeful that you do.
Holding foul on Mills. I did get the roses, John, and I really appreciate it.
I tried to keep it quiet.
Down to 35 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Addison. Fewest points in a quarter by the Knicks this season. 12 against Milwaukee back on February the 7th. The Knicks with only 10 points. Mason. And rebounded by Miller.
Knicks are just about where they were in their last game against Indiana, 16-2.
It counts, and the foul. Strong move by Joe Dumars.
16-2, Marv. They were down by 14 in the first quarter. They're down by 14 right now. Joe Dumars powering his way in as no one could get in front of him. Another look at Joe with his deceptive move, his ability to protect the ball, keep the ball between his body and the man, and he succeeds.
3 and 9/10 seconds remaining in the quarter. 25-10 for the Pistons. Macon making it very difficult for Davis. Smith. It counts. Charles Smith hitting at the buzzer. So the Knicks will equal their season low for points in one quarter.
Well, the Knicks pushing the ball down. Hubert Davis with patience and a great sense of timing. And here's the man who's got 4 field goals in the first quarter for the Knicks.
John taking another look. I think the Knicks got a break. That should not have counted, but they're not giving it back.
Bottom of the 7th. Mattingly at bat. 1 out. Runner on third. Here's the pitch. Mattingly hits it deep to right center.
I got it.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it.
It's Toyota's main event sales event. In this corner, Camry. Lease a Camry for just $239 a month. Or buy a Camry with low 2.9% financing. And the totally new Avalon, starting at just $22,758. Both out of Georgetown, Kentucky. Camry and Avalon, 2 heavyweights from Toyota. Toyota's main event sales event.
When you've tried the rest, try the best. Minolta Pocket Binoculars. Great lookers that are great looking at Nobody Beats the Whiz.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Toyota. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by Coca-Cola. Always jamming, always Coca-Cola.
The world-famous Harlem Globetrotters return to the Garden on Saturday, February 18th at 1 p.m. That's the Salutes the Family World Tour given by the Harlem Globetrotters on February 18th. Tickets at the Garden box office at Ticketmaster. Charge, call 212-307-7171.
Second quarter underway, and Patrick Ewing opening with the block on Oliver Miller. A 16-4 run by the Pistons. Last 5.5 minutes. Addison is called for that foul. The Pistons 25 and the Knicks 12. The Knicks equaling a season low for points in a quarter with only 12. Ewing saw the opening and did not react quickly. Greg Anthony has come on. That's a backcourt violation. Greg Anthony being rewarded for the excellent performance against Indiana last Wednesday. He emerged after sitting out 7 straight games and came through with a couple of solid stints, 10 points, 2 assists in 16 minutes. So Anthony and Davis in the backcourt. Ewing gets the step, and he is fouled.
Marv, you have to say that Patrick Ewing is not into it here in the first quarter. His timing is way off. You can see him now with this move. Looks like he might have gotten away with an extra step, too, on that move. But Patrick, in the prior move, actually threw that head fake, and he had a clear path to the basket and then had the ball taken from him. So he's really off the Phoenix experience. That weather was too nice in Phoenix. But as the Detroit Pistons know, once Patrick gets rolling, particularly against Oliver Miller, he can just turn this thing around real fast.
25-4 Detroit. Here is Macon. And last touched by the Knicks. Yes, everyone had a terrific time in Phoenix. I know you did, John. Unfortunately, the game did not live up to the rest of the weekend. It was, of course, when you look at an all-star game, you're not going to get the same intensive style play. That's another backcourt violation. But I think this one was even down a couple of notches. I always felt when Michael Jordan was involved, when Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, it seemed they were playing harder. And for some reason, there were all kinds of defensive lapses. There was no defense at all. Ewing is able to hit. I can recall the National Hockey League All-Star game last season at Madison Square Garden. And NHL All-Star games are really very, very poorly played because there's no hitting. It's like the Pro Bowl in the NFL. Right. You get away from what your sport is. Usually basketball and baseball are the best All-Star games. And as Addison fires and hits the three-pointer. So the Pistons lead 28-16. But I can recall last season, the NHL had Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier, 2 of the most respected players, talk to each individual team, pointing out that, hey, this is a huge showcase for us. We have to play with more intensity, and they did. It was a pretty good game. I really think the league has to have some of the respected, the elder statesmen, like Joe Dumars, if he's there again next year, or some of the other well-respected players, have a talk prior to the game. Davis able to hit and try to raise the intensity level.
I would say Commissioner David Stern would not want a repeat of the performance of that game. It was very disappointing. Usually the schoolyard feeling of the players, the best players in the league meeting, results in a terrific game. Even though the defense might not be great, but the fun is there. I didn't sense fun sitting and watching that game by the players at all.
I thought they had fun. You were sitting all the way upstairs.
I was up high.
No, they were having fun.
Really?
But maybe too much fun. And it was unorthodox things that were happening, and every once in a while, Oliver Miller. And the Pistons lead 30-18. You like to see some of the unorthodox moves, like we saw Shaquille driving the length of the court, perhaps a three-point shot attempted. That's okay. Foul is called on Miller, but you also have to have some of the kind of basketball that is played during normal phases of the NBA season, and you didn't have enough of that. Too much room given on shots, didn't you think?
There were people taking shots with literally no one in front of them for 10, 12 feet, and I just thought that was insulting. And I'm sure something will be said about it internally because it's usually a terrifically entertaining game, and that was really missing this year.
Mark West is back, replacing Terry Mills. The sport is really made to order for an all-star classic. It should lend itself, and it has in the past.
I think the great part of the weekend, too, Marv, as those fortunate enough to attend witness every year, is seeing the greats of the past who enjoy it as well and enjoy seeing each other and mingling, like Magic, by the way.
Addison out of fadeaway. Raphael Addison had the good one. And the Pistons last game has been hitting his shots here in the first half. 3 out of 4. He has 7 points. And the Pistons lead 32-20. Charles Smith rejected at the step and then turned back. Dumars and Allen Houston now in the backcourt. Here is Addison. And Anthony off the boards and pops it down for Mason. Gives it back to Smith. Beautiful play by Mason.
Nice look also by Greg Anthony throwing that perfect pass.
You know what is extraordinary to me is how many athletes from other sports. Dumars and the Pistons now lead 34-22. How many athletes, big name guys from other sports, year after year, want to be on hand for the All-Star festivities. The likes of Ryan Sandberg and Cal Ripken, Thurman Thomas, a whole host of people just taking the scene in. Foul called. Anthony Mason picks it up. Look at those who participated in the All-Star game. 10 points for Ewing, 11 for Dumars, hit 5 of 8. Grant Hill, 5 of 8. All those shots in the first half, he had 10 points. Allen Houston from way downtown. Allen Houston, who has been on the supporting side. Second-year player from Tennessee, first-round draft pick last year, has been inconsistent and has been in and out of the lineup. Ewing coughed it up.
Houston's a perfect two-guard, too, at 6'6". He can really shoot that ball.
The other highly thought-of young players, West is able to hit. Lindsey Hunter still out with a fractured right foot. Pistons lead 39-22.
While it's a 17-point lead for the Pistons, who are getting something done, it seems, every time down court.
Next week is my 5th wedding anniversary. It's unbelievable how time flies.
Did you get her a present yet?
Yeah, I'm getting her a really
long-distance shooting demonstration. Joe Dumars earlier this season with 10 three-point field goals in one game against the Minnesota Timberwolves in November. Brian Shaw hit that number last year for an NBA record, and Joe, as you see now, is the only player left from the glory years here in Detroit in '89 and '90, the championship teams. No more Isaiah, no more Bill Laimbeer. Well, every day people say, I miss Bill Laimbeer, I'm sure.
Outside his family.
The immediate family.
Joe Dumars, MVP of those 1989 finals. 39-22, Detroit with a 17-point lead. And Patrick Ewing, who has gotten off to a very slow start, able to connect on his first field goal. Missed his first 8 shots. 6:45 remaining in the half. Marv Albert with John Andres from the Palace of Auburn Hills. Addison. Well, this guy is on target. Raphael Addison with 9 points.
4 out of 6 from the field, and they're long jump shots.
That is before the shot attempt. Foul on Mark West.
Nice pass back to Ewing, who had the short jumper, but then decided to put the ball on the floor. Low percentage move by Patrick.
Correction, Ewing is 2 for 10 from the field, making 2 of 11 for only 8 points. The Knicks now have Starks and Harper and Davis in a 3-guard alignment, along with Ewing and Mason. And a travel call on West. The Knicks have won 6 straight against the Pistons. They swept them last year. The last loss to the Pistons, February 26, 1993, that was here at the Palace, and they were blown out 108-80. It's a 17-point game right here. Ewing getting right back into it the last couple of minutes, and he was fouled.
Well, Marv, hoop historians, as we look at this nice pass in by Hubert Davis, Patrick Ewing with plenty of room, and he got there. No dribbling, right to the hoop. We'll talk about what happened last year against the Pistons and a dramatic comeback after we come back. And they went on a 20-0 run led by John Starks, scoring the first 11 points. They outscored the Pistons 39-12 in the fourth quarter and won the game. So Knicks fans, don't give up. Could be a lot of positive things ahead if the Knicks can have history repeat itself.
Nigel Knight has come on for the first time, replacing Joe Dumars. Knight had been in the... What a pass from Miller to set up West. Oliver Miller on the hop for Mark West. And the Pistons lead 43-27. Knight had been starting at point guard the last 9 games, but this evening Don Chaney went with the combination of Dumars and Macon. Starks. Nice extension by John Starks to get it up over Mark West.
The only starter for the Pistons on the court now is Mark West.
Houston. And it's kept alive by Addison. Raphael Addison getting inside. He has 11 points. 16-point margin for Detroit.
That'll give Pat Riley something to talk about at halftime. Nothing but blue shirts around the Pistons basket, and Addison came up with the rebound.
Ewing is now 3 for 13. That's a travel called on Houston. The Knicks have won 9 of the last 11 on the road. They come in winners of 18 of the last 22 games. Detroit Pistons at 17-29, last in the Central Division. Beautiful move by Hoffer, and that is his first field goal. Detroit 45 and the Knicks 31. Knight getting the pick from Miller. Illegal defense called on the Knicks, and Don Chaney asks for a 20-second timeout.
Detroit takes a 10-second timeout.
Well, from here, the Knicks will move on to Miami. Thursday night, they face the Miami Heat. First of a home-and-home set will be on hand from the Miami Arena starting at 7 o'clock Knicks game night. And we will not be chatting with Kevin Loggery. Earlier today, the announcement that he has been replaced by assistant coach Alvin Gentry. So it will be Alvin Gentry and the Miami Heat facing the New York Knicks Thursday in Miami, and then Friday night back at Madison Square Garden.
Well, the Board of Governors on Monday approved the sale of the Miami Heat to the Arison family, and Billy Cunningham and Lou Chaffel, who had been making the personnel decisions for the last several years, are out. And they're out with a lot of money. And immediately the new ownership comes in and makes that dramatic move with Kevin Lockery now replaced.
Ewing kicked it out of bounds, and the Pistons will take over.
Well, Billy Cunningham did make the big money as a player in his Hall of Fame career, but he's rolling in it now, Marv. As well as Louis Chaffel, a New Yorker who has spent his life in basketball.
Mark West very active offensively.
Mark West is now 5 out of 7 from the field in the first half. And Patrick Ewing quite a step behind him at 3 out of 13 from the field.
16-point lead by the Pistons. Starks for 3. And Mason able to short hop it and finds the opening. Rebound Miller. Here comes Knight. Knight racing with Mason. Well, Knight putting the speed on. Miguel Knight, who was signed by the Pistons December 30th after he was waived by Portland. He appeared in only 3 games with the Trailblazers, a former Spur, one-time Phoenix Sun. He has just given the Pistons an 18-point advantage, and the Knicks call for a 20-second timeout.
Well, in the first quarter went by with the Pistons coming out making half their shots, and the Knicks half of that. The Knicks shot 26% in the first quarter. They're up a bit now, and the Pistons are getting better. The Knicks' defensive intensity is non-existent. They're out there, but they're not playing defense in anywhere near the representative defense that the Knicks play usually. They're just as soft can be. And you know, Pat Riley knows it. He doesn't seem to be overly upset watching him on the bench now, figuring that his team can come back into this game with their typical second-half effort after the long weekend break.
Starks, bothered by Hill. Grant Hill's back on the floor. Hill might have gotten a piece of that. Knight being played by Hopper. 3:05 remaining in the first half. Here's Hill going glass. 6 points for Hill. And the Pistons now lead by 20. Smith grabbed by West. Understandably, Piston head coach Don Chaney was very concerned about this upcoming stretch. The Knicks tonight. And how about 3 straight on the road at Indiana, at Chicago, and at Charlotte. Very tough stretch for the Pistons. Don Chaney in his second year as head coach here. Last year, not a pleasant season. One-time assistant with Detroit. Chaney, coach of the year back in 1991 with the Houston Rockets. Look at Bill Curley as he checks in for the first time. The rookie from Boston College, replacing Mark West. Remember, Chaney then replaced by Rudy Tomjanovich after winning Coach of the Year honors. Don Chaney also a head man of the LA Clippers for 2+ seasons.
One of the most liked coaches in the NBA as well.
Houston pops it. Well, the Pistons shooting 57%, while the Knicks only 13 of 39, 33% from the field. Foul called on Miller. And Detroit is over the limit. Here's Anthony Bonner replacing Hubert Davis.
The Knicks have learned time and again when they pass the ball in their half-court offense crisply and repeatedly, they get good shots. But they haven't gotten into that style of play here in the first half. And their efficiency is just horrendous at the offensive end.
Terry Mills for Oliver Miller. Miller had a field goal, 2 points, 4 rebounds. Knight able to pull it down. 2:20 to go in this first half. And a 21-point lead for Detroit. It's their biggest lead. Hill extends that lead.
Well, I bet Hill is happy that he's not facing Anthony Mason, who banged him around and he was really kept under control in New York in their first meeting. In fact, he commented that he wasn't ready for a Mason.
Off the steal, here's Hill. What a move by Grant Hill. And the Pistons now lead 58-33. Bonner is fouled.
The exciting part of Hill's game is that he can, he reminds me of Julius Erving in the sense that when he soars to the basket, it seems that his arm becomes rubber. And it goes further to the rim than you would think it would based on his size and his relationship to the basket. He just gets bigger as he gets around the hoop for the shot. And of course he has a wonderful touch.
Mention the game in New York back in late December. Hill only 7 of 19 from the field. He has it all: size, speed, ball handling, defense. He can score. Handles the ball so well.
And with so much reflection these days on player personality and the lack of, in many cases, of some of the larger, better known players, Hill is such a contrast. His off-court demeanor has attracted as much attention as his on-court play. And the league, and the public, the basketball public, is so delighted to be enjoying him.
To the point where he may be doing too much, and he has been advised to pull back. He's a guy who doesn't, like yourself, who doesn't say no, John.
You got to keep those Letterman producers away from him, right? You're failing. He's been on twice now in the last 2 months.
And the foul is called on Knight. So Hopper to the line. Minute 19 left in this first half. Certainly one of the finest performances of the season for the Pistons, shooting now 59%, 26 of 44 from the field. And they have a 23-point lead.
Talking about the All-Star game, I bumped into Magic Johnson the other day in the middle of a workout at one of the hotels. He was working real hard. I said, Magic, I'm going to tell Pat you look ready. And he, with his Magic-only smile, looked up and said, tell him I'm ready for a 10-day contract.
Right around playoff time, I would think. Mills with the cross court for Hill. Shot clock at 3. Knight for 3. The shooting by the Pistons has been unconscious in this first half.
But the sin that the Knicks committed here in the opening part of the game is allowing the Pistons to get what they got early. Now they're real loose and they're making shots that they shouldn't be making, or that they normally don't make, or they'd have a much better record. But the Knicks allowed them in early.
Half minute to go in the first half. The Pistons shooting 60% from the field. The Knicks have hit only 13 of their 40 shots, and it continues. 63-36. Hill 6 of 9. He has 12 points. Bob Page coming up at the MSG Sports Desk at halftime. It has been a horrendous first half for the Knicks. Playing the clock down. Bonner. Anthony Bonner with 9/10 of a second remaining. And that will do it. At the half, it's the Detroit Pistons 63 and the New York Knicks 38. 61% from the field for the Pistons. 28 of 46. Bob Hill coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
And next week is my 5th wedding anniversary. It's unbelievable how time flies.
Did you get her a present yet?
Yeah, I'm getting her a really nice washer and dryer.
Oh, come on. She'll never forgive you. You got to get her something for her. It is for her.
No blondes and bikinis.
Get a jewel.
No sales pitch from the chairman.
For vacation.
None of that is what made Heineken the #1 imported beer in America.
You think I should take her someplace special?
Definitely.
So maybe I'll take her to Cooperstown.
No.
We're in show business. We're having fun. We're ringmasters of one of the greatest circuses of all time. Wow, that's great. California has a very special meaning around the world. It's about freedom. It's about choices. How about a pizza with potato on it? Peking duck. Thai chicken. We have watched where businesses have limited ways in which the customer pays. And when our customer reaches for an American Express card, we gladly accept it.
American Express is welcome to wherever fresh ideas are cooking. So dine out, America.
Winter's here, and you're seeing a lot of four-wheel drive sport utility vehicles advertised.
John, I thought your impersonation of my voice as we went to commercial was just excellent. And I know that Bob Page is a very secure person and realizes that it was a mistake. It is not Bob Hill coming up. It is indeed Bob Page.
Steve, Al, let me in here now. You Alberts, you all sound the same.
Let's go to Bob in New York.
Our Knicks announced team, as well as the New York Knicks, obviously very much dazed and confused tonight in suburban Detroit. As Marv mentioned earlier, Clyde Drexler is apparently, because they haven't formally announced it yet, finally gotten his wish. Portland has traded him into his hometown of Houston, no less. Drexler goes along with forward Tracy Murray in exchange for Rockets power forward Otis Thorpe. Who plays that important position now for Houston? Carl Herrera? Meadowlands Arena tonight. Nets beating the Charlotte Hornets. They're playing late second quarter. The score 55-47. Butch still without the services of injured Derek Coleman, but he does have Kenny Anderson back. Nice look from Kenny there to Benoit Benjamin. Nets up 2, and they led 31-24 going into the second quarter, where Chris Morris feeds Rex Walters for a 3. 38-28. Walters, outspoken in his criticism of Anderson, says Kenny never gives him the ball. He did there for another triple. Walters had 11 points at that point, and the Nets were up 42-28. At Orlando, Shaquille O'Neal being a very ungracious host to the Indiana Pacers. Haywood Workman run over by a runaway freight train. First quarter, Shaq kicks it out to Donald Royal, who just sashays down the middle alone. Magic led 27-19 after 1. Second quarter, watch Dennis Scott and Shaq work the pick and roll to perfection. Orlando led by 9. And late second quarter at the O-Arena, 41-40, Magic leading the Pacers. Also in the NBA, if you missed it from earlier, the Miami Heat fired Brooklyn native Kevin Lockery and replaced him with assistant coach Alvin Gentry. Now in college basketball, Connecticut playing for the first time since earning the national #1 designation in the polls. They're at Georgetown tonight, winning by 4 at halftime. Jim Calhoun and the Huskies won by 20 over the Hoyas in a meeting last month. Allen Iverson penetrates, passes to my favorite Hoya, Boubacar Aw for the lay-in. Georgetown led early. Now Kevin Ollie for UConn tosses an alley-oop pass, and this was a pleasant alley-oops. Turned out to be a three-pointer that gave the Huskies a 1-point lead. UConn is 19-1, 12-0 in the Big East. Georgetown has lost its last 2 games. I'll be back right after this.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Alamo. There are over 4 million miles of road in Alamo territory, and with Alamo, all those miles are free.
Over New Mexico, it's usually clear and blue. On a typical day in Seattle, you can hardly see it at all. All across America, the sky is now part of Alamo territory because you can earn miles on most major U.S. airlines when you rent from Alamo with express rental and return and unlimited miles, including some in the skies above America.
Forget about President's Day sales. The real savings are at Chrysler Plymouth's big winter clearance. That's where you'll find every minivan on sale with low 3.9% financing and $500 to $1,000 cash back. Get up to $1,000 on Plymouth Voyager and Grand Voyager. Plus discounts and values that could total a big $2,100. Don't wait, this ends soon. Anyone can have a President's Day sale, but the big winter clearance is only at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer, and only for a short time.
In 5 minutes, Eva. Okay, you ready? You look great.
Couldn't do it, actually. Especially after...
That's what I'm here for, huh? A few weeks ago, I was getting Eva ready for her close-up when I noticed something. Dandruff. So I told her about Head & Shoulders. The regular shampoos just rinse flakes away so they can come back. Head & Shoulders.
Foreman announced his first defense of his new heavyweight championship. He will fight a German named Axel Schultz April 22nd at Las Vegas. Out on the island, the Islanders now are trailing Quebec 3-1. That's in the second period. Highlights of that game. We'll hear from George Foreman. Have much more in our 15-minute show at 11 o'clock tonight. Back to Motown after, again, this time out.
And West. While the Knicks having their shooting difficulties, led by Charles Smith with 12. Patrick Ewing got off to a slow start, 3 of 13 overall. He had 11 points, and as you can see, only 4 apiece for Hoffer and Starks, and 3 by Bonner John. Last March the 7th, the Knicks were trailing by 16 against the Pistons here at the Palace. Went through a 20-0 run, able to pull out the victory. That turned out to be game number 3 on the way to a 15-game win streak, but perhaps that would be asking too much tonight. It's just been a terrible first half by the Knicks. On the other hand, the Pistons hitting almost everything they're throwing up.
Well, the Knicks' excuse, as you would expect, would be that they're not sharp. They've been off for a few days, but every team of the 11 games being played in the NBA tonight faced that. They just weren't tough out there. They weren't committed, and they paid a dear price. And I would think Pat Riley should be pretty upset at this point, and you just don't want to lose to the Pistons in this manner. You don't want to lose at all, but in this manner, they were very disinterested first half of the Knicks.
All right, a look at some of the highlights in the first half.
Oh, off an Addison miss, Greg Anthony, who got a couple of minutes of time on the floor with that long, beautiful pass to Anthony Mason, who unselfishly gave it up to the hard-charging Charles Smith for one of his 5 field goals. But it was really the first half of the Detroit Pistons that was the difference. Addison beating the Knicks inside for that rebound and finish. And Grant Hill with some spectacular movement around the basket. One of his beautiful drives. There's some defense by Grant Hill. No deception by Bonner on that pass, and Hill recovered the ball and then finished beautifully with that layup.
The Knicks held to only 12 points in the first quarter. They're down 63-38 as we head to the second half.
You know, I really hate it when my CD player dies before the disc finishes. So I use Energizer AA lithium batteries from Nobody Beats the Wiz. They just keep on going.
Enter the home of Hassett and Wantagh, the ultimate full-service automobile dealership, and discover what thousands of your Long Island neighbors already know, that you get something more with our low prices. You get even more than the best incentives, even more than award-winning service priced fairly. At Hassett, you get 73 full-time employees driven by one singular objective: your peace of mind. Hassett in nearby Wantagh.
Give me that. Now, you don't get this back to
The shooting in the first half. The Knicks 14 of 41, 34%. Look at Detroit, 28 of 46 for 61% in the half, led by Hill, 6 of 9 from the floor. Three-point shooting, the Knicks 0 for 5, and Detroit hitting on 4 out of 6. Allen Houston hit 2 of 2, and the Pistons with the edge off the boards.
Interesting Toyota matchup with Mark West with 10 points, double-figure score. Look at, he's 5 out of 7 from the field. He's the NBA's, by the way, all-time field goal percentage shooter. He's not really a shooter. He works around the hoop, but he's doing his job tonight. That's the point. And one of the things the Knicks have got to curtail, Marv, a very deceptive statistic, easy to pass by, is the field goal attempts of the Pistons. They had 46 field goal attempts. They average 70. Generally, when you look at an NBA game, you'll see 60 to 70 field goal attempts by a team. Well, the Knicks allowed 46 in the first half, and of course they got them on a red-hot night while making 28 of them for 61%.
Nice move by West, but could not put it down. Here comes Starks on the run, met by Macon, and he draws the foul. Nice hesitation move by John Starks.
Now, you would predictably think that the Knicks are going to come out now and play very, very hard as John Starks solicits Mike Saunders for a straightening out of one of his fingers. John wanted some help. He didn't want to do it himself, handing that job over to the pro. John also doesn't want to come out of the game. His body language makes that clear.
Starks fouled in the act right here by Macon, and he'll shoot 2. John Starks 2 of 8 in his 19 minutes in the first half. And the Knicks are now 10 of 14 at the foul line.
Well, the Knicks have to get fierce as John Starks misses 2, showing that that finger undoubtedly had more of an effect than he had hoped.
Hill played by Williams. Thought earlier in the day that Pat Riley would make the change to Anthony Bonner, but he stayed with Monty Williams, who comes up with a nice block. And the Pistons have 7 on the 24. Dumars, and the ball goes back to the Knicks. In the first half, Monty Williams started, played 6 minutes. Anthony Bonner came on and played 8 minutes. West doing a good job in fronting on Ewing, and an illegal defense called against the Pistons. That is their second violation, so a technical foul awarded.
You mentioned Williams and Bonner, the shooting of, I should say, the 3 position on the Knicks, which is the shooting forward position, small forward. A total of 3 points coming out of that position in the first half. And with Ewing off and the guards off as well, Harper and Starks combining for 8 points, there was just no relief out there. No one to pick it up.
Charles Smith. Good move by Smith to beat his man, but not able to hit, in a 22nd timeout called to save the possession. So Don Chaney will talk it over. A minute 20 gone by in this third quarter, and the Pistons with a 24-point lead. Mike Saunders and Tim Walsh continue to check out the fingers of John Starks.
Well, what the Knicks have to do now is feel the real call of a team collective effort that has not been there. It certainly is expected at any moment, but it hasn't been seen yet. This collective commitment to effort.
Mark Macon handling against Derek Harper. Here's Mills. Starks and Harper in the backcourt. Ewing, Smith, and Williams up front. Crowd wanted a palming violation on Starks. Patrick Ewing with his 4th field goal. He has 13 points. He is only 4 of 14. 63-41 Detroit. West again able to get inside. Mark West has 12 points.
Charles Smith just allowed him to do what he wanted.
As you mentioned earlier, although West never been noted as a scorer, nice backdoor pass, and Monty Williams puts it away. Mark West ranks second to Artis Gilmore as the NBA's career field goal percentage leader. 59% shooter for his career. Hill in a one-on-one move and a foul is called. It's a block on Monty Williams.
You mentioned Artis Gilmore, Marv, one of the former NBA stars who was at the All-Star weekend. Had an opportunity to say hi to him, shake his hand, and once again he almost brought me to tears. The man is so strong.
With the grip?
With his grip.
Again, but you're a baby about that.
No,
John. I've seen this, you know, I saw you shake hands with Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, but at least I stick my hand out. You wouldn't even do that. In fact, you avoided Artis Gilmore. I saw you do that. I mean, the guy is so strong.
You're a baby. The Pistons 67.
Wow, that wasn't your Valentine.
And the Knicks 43.
Your Valentine to a baby.
You a baby Valentine. And Dumars off the steal. 3 minutes in, 3rd quarter. Shot clock at 5. Stepped out of bounds. Lee Jones with the call. And it will be Nick Ball. Look at Don Chaney, and one of the amazing facts about Chaney, he's the only man that played with both Bill Russell and Larry Bird. Spent 11 years as a player in the NBA. Patrick Ewing cuts it to 67-45. Don Chaney owns 2 championship rings as a member of the Boston Celtics.
Because of Don's self-effacing manner and very pleasant manner, he's under a lot of pressure here now as well, because the Pistons have been very disappointing this year. There are reasons for that, relating to injuries to a great degree, and he's under some heat.
Here's Hill, got the step.
Oh, Monty Williams was a spectator. He was just watching Hill.
16 for Hill. And the Pistons lead 69-45. Hill off the steal. Macon on the drive. Rebound Hill. And the Pistons now lead 71-45. Grant Hill missed his first 3 shots. He's hit his last 8.
Every year, one credit card gives you something other credit cards don't. Only the Discover card offers you Cashback Bonus Award. Cash. Over $500 million paid so far. And there's no annual fee. So carry the Discover card and improve your cash flow. It pays to Discover. Accepted wherever you see the Novus Network sign.
You know, going over these highlight films, I think I have found a new all-star. The all-new Lincoln Continental. Gets out on the fast break. Moves like nobody else. I think we got a franchise player here.
Your Tri-State Lincoln dealers invite you to experience the all-new V8-powered Lincoln Continental, the perfect balance of luxury and technology.
Delta Airlines schedule shows you the Knicks going to Miami next on Thursday, and a game to be seen on MSG2. Knicks game night at 7 o'clock, and then the return match Friday night at the Garden. Knicks return home, and then Sunday they stay home against the Houston Rockets. NBC game at 1 p.m.
It has been a lethargic performance by the Knicks right from the start. Only 12 points in the first quarter. They were down 63-38 in the first half. Foul is called. And that is number 4 on Mark West. So John Starks back to the line. Missed a couple earlier this third quarter. Mark West has had an outstanding game offensively. 6 for 9, 12 points. Also has 7 rebounds. Here's Oliver Miller returning. That is the breathe right patch over the bridge of the nose of Oliver Miller. I know, John, you've been wearing that during the course of our telecast.
The breathe right patch
helps the oxygen get in there, you know. Better breathing.
Never heard of that before.
Oh, a lot of the athletes have been using it.
Can non-athletes use them too?
I mentioned that you have been using it. Hill on the drive.
What's bothersome, I would think, to Pat Riley, the coaching staff of the Knicks, is the Knicks don't seem to be negatively affected by what's going on around them. They're not angry. They're not playing with any fierceness at all.
Ewing, yes. Patrick Ewing showing some signs now. He has 17 points after the bad start. Missed his first 8 shots. How about Grant Hill? He's hit his last 9 after missing 3 in a row. Knicks go to the double team, and it is kicked out of bounds. Last touched by the Knicks. Detroit with 10 on the shot clock. Now Anthony Mason is guarding Grant Hill. And Hill goes to the jumper. Oh, Grant Hill putting on a spectacular performance.
Well, he said he hoped he'd be ready for Mason next time they met after December 29th in New York when Mason held him down. He looks like he's ready.
Starks for Mason. And the Pistons now lead 75-51. There were some questions in the Detroit paper today reacting to the fact that Grant Hill missed the Pistons practice session yesterday in order to come to New York for the taping of the David Letterman show and also for the ESPYs as Kumars knocks down the 3. Hill had scored the previous 10 points for the Pistons. But the Detroit coaches pointed out that was the first practice that Hill has missed. Starks, and the Pistons now lead 78-53. The way Grant has played tonight, I would think it might be encouraged that from time to time he miss a practice and then show up for the game. He has just had a phenomenal ball game. Hill with 22. Timeout taken. Time Patrick Ewing was not right, still making it back from the knee surgery. There was that 11-point loss at home to Miami. The loss last week at home to Milwaukee. But in terms of going up against opposition that is not the top quality, this is right there. You have a Piston team that got blown out in its prior game by Charlotte. 17-29. They're last place in the Central Division, and they are blowing the Knicks off the court.
Last week was their worst loss of the year to Charlotte. Their last game played here.
Pistons now lead 81-57. 19 points for Patrick Ewing, has turned it after the slow start. Detroit now at 61% from the field, 35 of 57.
Clear out for Hill. He handles the ball so well. Lefty, righty.
Aiken unable to hit. Gathered in by Ewing. 4.5 left in the third. Shot clock at 5.
Nothing out of the half-court offense for the Knicks, ending up with a very poor Derek Harper running one-handed shot. Pistons, as you would expect now with their tremendous offensive performance, are getting a good defensive effort and intensity.
Dumars, did he beat it? Yes, he did. It's a 3 at the 24-second buzzer.
And you notice nobody on Dumars at the end of that little handoff to him. There is no second effort defensively by the Knicks.
The Knicks have shot well here in the third quarter. 7 of 9, make it 8 of 10 from the field on that three-point shot by Starks. And the Pistons now lead 84-60. Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Mills again looking for a 3, and he's called for the traveling violation. That three-pointer a moment ago, the Knicks' first of the game, while Detroit is 7 of 11 from downtown. Grant Hill will sit down, leads 10 of 13, 22 points. He's hit his last 10 shots. Ewing with the drop step. Patrick Ewing able to sweep by Oliver Miller.
Amazing the difference in this game versus the one in New York. Ewing was rolling throughout the game. There was no Mark West. He's back tonight, but he hasn't been that much of a factor.
Addison. Oh! And Mason with the rebound. Hopper and Starks in the backcourt now. Ewing, Bonner, and Mason up front. Starks for 3. And the Pistons able to get back to the offense. Dumars for 3. Oh, Bonner cut it off, but recovered by Addison. Back comes Mason. Just under 2 minutes to go in the third. Starks for 3. John Starks trying to shoot the Knicks back into it. 12-3 Knick run, and a timeout called by the Pistons.
Disque dur est plein. Oh. Il faut que j'archive 500 MB ou je suis fichu.
Oh, ça c'est embêtant. Ouais. J'ai entendu dire qu'il travaillait sur un nouveau procédé laser pour stocker de l'information.
Le laser? Qui fait ça?
Ah, IBM. Oui, IBM. Ils disent même qu'on pourra stocker 10 fois plus de données.
Oh, c'est incroyable.
A minute 47 remaining in the third quarter, and a good run by the Knicks, who have trailed by as many as 28, and they're now down by 19.
Well, the crowd coming to life here. They're sensing the Knicks playing with some life and some spirit now, and they appreciate what they've seen by the Pistons. John Starks finding the touch now again. There is some life in the Knicks' body right now, and it's starting to show.
The Knicks have hit 10 of 13 from the field in the third quarter. Pistons 8 for 16. Couple of three-pointers by Starks, 2 of 5 now from downtown. Dumars posting up. Addison changed his mind. A bad pass, and a foul is called against Detroit. Foul on Miller. That is his 4th.
Knicks are now matching up on their men, taking responsibility.
Minute 20 remaining in the third. And Ewing is fouled.
Now you're getting the sense that the Knicks are succeeding, coming down court. Now we're seeing a little communication by the players as well, which has been absent throughout the game, as they start to enjoy what they're doing for the first time.
Foul on Macon. Ewing now 5 of 6 at the line. Patrick Ewing has hit all 5 of his shots in the third quarter. Started out 0 for 8 from the field. Pistons 84 and the Knicks 66. John Chaney with vivid thoughts of how the Knicks were able to turn things around in a game here last season. A 20-0 run. Able to pull it out after the Knicks were down by as many as 16 in the third quarter. Ewing with the block. Recovered by Macon. And rebounded by Mason. Mason on the run. Saw the opening and takes all the way. Draws the foul. Mason will shoot 2.
In their prior matchup in New York, the Knicks out-rebounded Detroit by 14. Tonight, the Knicks are being out-rebounded in low double figures by 11 at the moment. Another sign of what's been going on out in the court.
Foul by Mills, his third. Wow, Anthony Mason with an air ball. Not only an air ball, off to the right, and here's it from the crowd.
Bonner comes over and gives him a supporting smack to loosen him up.
And Miller on the rebound. Here comes Nigel Knight, guarded by Derek Harper. Starks got a piece of it. Shot clock at 6. Starks playing Dumars very physically. Starks played him well. And a final possession of the quarter for the Knicks. 84-66. The Knicks are suddenly in range after trailing by as many as 28. Starks for 3. And rebounded by Mills. Final seconds of the quarter. Here's Dumars from half court. 3 quarters complete here at the Palace. And the Knicks are trailing the Pistons 84-66.
Final call.
We've got to move fast, Kirby. I hope you're both hurt.
Not exactly, but this company's fast. As fast as Hertz #1 club goal? Not exactly, but they do have a special place to pick up the car.
Like Hertz?
Not exactly, but it'll be waiting.
Under a canopy? With the keys in it?
Not exactly.
And protected from the weather?
Not exactly.
In Rent-A-Car, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. Make sure you choose the right one.
Counting on that promotion, Kirby?
No, not exactly. Ah!
Well, many have tried and failed. It appears Nissan has found a cure for the common cold. For fast relief, see your nearest Nissan dealer. Lease the Pathfinder XEV6 with Sport Convenient Package, $319 a month for 24 months with $2,000 down.
A trip back in time? No, it's Las Vegas, a world of excitement in one amazing place.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Hertz. For business, for pleasure, nobody does it exactly like Hertz. And by Nissan. It's time to expect more from a car.
Time now for a Coke Classic play, and we take it back 10 days to a very poignant moment here for Detroit Pistons fans as Bill Laimbeer's number was retired on February 4th. That's Vinnie Johnson on the right, and Coach Chuck Daly coming out to present Bill with this shirt enshrined here. And Bill looking up at a very proud moment. He had a great career as a member of the Pistons. Vinnie Johnson, now Bill Laimbeer, Dave Bing, all the distinguished superstars of this franchise. We always poke at Bill Laimbeer, but on a serious note, he meant an awful lot to this franchise, and he was greatly responsible for the success in the 2 championships in '89 and '90. There's a man who got more out of his talent, certainly, than many, many players who have played this sport.
Hot shooting quarter for the Knicks. 10 of 14 for the field in the third. Detroit dropped off to 8 for 20. And the Pistons with an 84-66 lead as this fourth quarter gets underway. And a loose ball foul is called on Bonner. So for the game, the Pistons now at 55%. And the Knicks at 43%. Knicks with only 12 points in the first quarter, had only 38 at the half. Began to turn things for the first time in the third, but still trailing by 18 points. They were down by as many as 28. Addison. Well, he had the touch in the first half, not the case here in the second half.
Because he had pressure on him. Bonner was waving at him, contesting that shot. That's what the Knicks weren't doing.
Anthony Mason cuts it to a 16-point lead. With a minute gone by in the fourth, there's a long way to go. Dumars for Mills. And Mills stopped and fouled by Mason. Allen Houston played briefly in the first half, checking back in. Raphael Addison departs. And Grant Hill, who had the stroke in his last 10 shots, is back on the floor.
Here's an amazing number, Marv. In the game thus far, the Pistons have been to the foul line now 7 times. That shows you where the Knicks' defensive intensity hasn't been. They haven't been fouling people. Now it's a matter of them playing much tougher, and you can feel it now. It's evident. You can see it. They're playing tougher on defense.
Hubert Davis replacing Derek Harper. It's been a quiet night for Derek, 1 of 5 from the field. Last cut by the Pistons. Starks and Davis in the backcourt. Ewing with Mason and Bonner up front. Starks played by Houston. Here's Davis. Yes. So Hubert 2 of 3 for the night, and the Pistons lead 86-70. Oh, nice move by Knight, and a foul on Starks. John, it is his second. For those who may have just tuned in, the big news in the NBA today, the trade between the Houston Rockets and the Portland Trail Blazers. The Rockets acquiring Clyde Drexler. Makes his return to Houston. Played for the Cougars of the University of Houston. That's a 3 for Knight. 8-time All-Star Dream Team member Clyde Drexler, along with Tracy Murray, for veteran power forward Otis Thorpe, and draft picks.
Somehow the salary cap was adhered to. Drexler next year has a $9 million bulk payment coming to him. That must have been pretty complex to work out.
Here's Starks. Rebound Mason. And the Pistons now lead 89-72. Clyde Drexler asked for a trade before the start of the season. Made his request public back in January, saying he was unhappy with the direction of the franchise. He actually had left for Houston. Again, it's Hill. That's 11 straight for Hill. Drexler had actually left for Houston Tuesday night as the Blazers were preparing to play the Mavericks earlier tonight, but is not in uniform. Pistons lead 91-72. Mason. Oh, Anthony Mason with 10 points.
Mason got a little shove there, and he's asking for some consideration.
Hill guarded by Bonner. Hill is the high man with 24 points. Houston for 3, and Ewing rebounds. Here's Mason. What is terrific about Grant Hill is that he does not force shots. His shot selection is excellent, gets all his points within the offense. That time the victim of a double team, and the ball slapped out by the combination of Ewing and Bonner. Pistons will have 8 on the shot clock. Bill Curley, the rookie from Boston College, who played briefly in the first half, checks back in.
Hill's ability to handle the ball as Knight coughs it up off his leg is what really makes him special, because his physical movement and his shooting ability combined with the ability to handle the ball and create a shot. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't need a pick to get it done.
Derek Harper is back. Harper and Davis in the backcourt. Harper has come on for Starks. Starks with 14 points on 5 for 14 shooting. Mason going at Curley. It counts, and the foul.
Now it's getting dangerous for Detroit. 17 now became 15 with a chance at a 14-point lead. As Mason backs in the rookie Curley in low and then goes away from him with a beautiful finish.
Bill Curley, a first-round draft pick of Detroit, the Pistons' second pick on the first round, actually drafted by San Antonio, then traded to the Pistons. Again,
unbelievable.
Whoa.
Unbelievable. Anthony Mason air ball, second time tonight. It's just unbelievable to see that.
That may be a Knicks franchise record.
What a dubious distinction.
2 in a game. Anthony, not a good free throw shooter, but not to that extent. And Ewing off the steal.
Give Bonner credit for that intensity.
Here is Davis open. Yes. So the Knicks have come from 28 down and are now trailing by 13. 7:10 remaining. Fourth quarter.
Ladies and gentlemen.
As cool as your rag top and favorite hot spots. It's something with hometowns and everyone's class clown. It's always been true. This bud's for you.
Just for you, a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
It's always been true.
Yeah, they all look innocent enough until they start ganging up on you.
Then you'll be glad you invested in the security of Jeep Grand Cherokee with full-time four-wheel drive, 190 horsepower engine, four-wheel anti-lock brakes, and a driver's airbag. Because when you're outnumbered millions to 1, you need all the help you can get. Now get great values on Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo.
Now get 3.9% financing on all Jeep vehicles at your tri-state Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Final call.
We've got to move fast, Kirby. I hope you booked Hertz.
Not exactly, but this company's fast.
As fast as Hertz #1 club goal?
Not exactly, but they do have a special place to pick up the car.
Like Hertz?
Not exactly, but it'll be waiting.
Under a canopy? With the keys in it?
Not exactly.
And protected from the weather?
Not exactly.
In rent-a-car, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. Make sure you choose the right one.
Counting on that promotion, Kirby?
No, not exactly.
Well, it has begun to happen, and the Knicks now are moving up on the Pistons, creating some pressure for the home team. John Starks with the lead pass to Mason. 3 people around him. Mason finds a way to get that right-handed shot up. He wanted a foul as well. Mason has scored 8 of the team's last 12 points. Hubert Davis, the other 4.
Illustration of how the Knicks have turned it around in the second half. They've outscored the Pistons going back to the third quarter by the margin of 25-10. To look back at the Knicks comeback victory here last season, they closed the game, outscoring the Pistons 42-12. Here's Hill going to the jump shot, played well by Bonner. He had hit his previous 10 shots.
That shot was contested by Bonner.
The Detroit lead, once 28, down to 13.
Ewing wants that ball, has the long arms up.
Patrick Ewing cuts it to an 11-point Piston lead with 6:20 remaining, fourth quarter.
Now the Knicks are feeling invincible.
Open shot for Houston. Pat Riley very upset with the room that Houston was able to get.
Well, Pat's getting used to seeing the Pistons being contested on the shots. That'll be a big point in his post-game conversation. I would think that subject is major.
93-80 Detroit. Hopper. And words apparently between Bill Curley, Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason also involved, and the officials in a discussion. Joe Crawford, Ron Olesiak.
Off the ball, there seemed to be some activity between Curley and Ewing. Harper handling the ball, there's some shoving going on. You can see Curley wrapping himself around Ewing. As that shot goes up, they didn't disengage quickly enough for the officials.
Well, the decision has been made, and here's the announcement.
New York's number 33, Patrick Ewing.
Apparently, double personal fouls. No technicals involved. Personals on Ewing and Curley. And that leads to a jump ball. And a re-jump. Not a good toss. And they'll do it again.
I think this is the toughest part of an official's job, is dealing with the 7-footers as they go up for and throwing the ball up cleanly, as Joey Crawford attempts to do. And he wants it again.
It's a do-over. That was once again not a good toss. Patrick Ewing claiming that he's being held by West. There's a good one. And Harper and Dumars battle for it, and a foul is called. It's on Harper.
Interesting contrast, you know, Mark. Harper, the man of many faces, and Dumars, the impassive one. Always same expression, but he's got the same kind of intensity as Derek Harper.
Fourth team foul picked up by the Knicks. Here's Dumars for 3. And Bonner and Ewing wrestling for the ball. The Piston lead is only 13. Davis, and Ewing gets to it. Harper for 3. Yes. John, you want to make the point?
Mr. Big Shot.
There you go. I was waiting.
And that was a big one. We're looking at 10 points now and a dramatic turnaround for the Knicks.
The Piston lead is down to 10. Bonner nearly took it away. And a foul is called on the Knicks. Anthony Bonner called for a push, and it puts the Knicks over the limit.
See Bonner like a serpent reaching out, challenging Hill. You can't wait for it to happen. If you do, Hill's just going to figure a way around you. But by coming at him, it's going to disturb his equilibrium and the flow that he wants to create and dictate.
Hill is a 76% free throw shooter. Grant averaging 18.5 points per game. And Ewing with the rebound. 25 points for Grant Hill. Pistons 94 and the Knicks 83. As you see, 4 minutes 40 seconds to go in the fourth. John Starks has returned. Nice move by Mason. Anthony Mason has had an outstanding game. He'd just like to forget about those 2 air ball free throws, but he's been a major reason that the Knicks are back in at 7 of 10, 14 points, 7 rebounds for Mason. 94-85, it's down to 9. Mills feeling for Mason. And Mills with the turnaround. He drew the foul. No, apparently an illegal defense is called on the Knicks, and that will lead to a technical, and Patrick Ewing debating the call with the official Lee Jones. Here's Joe Dumars shooting the tee. Dumars is 1 for 1 at the line.
Knicks have been to the line 25 times tonight while making 16. The Pistons have only been there 11 times.
10-point lead for the Knicks, 32-13 spurt going back to the third quarter to turn this around. And Mills working against Mason. Bonner over to help. Mills from deep. Not a good shot. Hoffer trying to call for time. Did he get the call off? Let's see. If not, he was tied up. And apparently that's the way Lee Jones sees it. He was not able to call for time. Actually, he was screened from the official Lee Jones. So it is a jump ball. And it's controlled by Detroit. Just under 4 minutes remaining on the fourth.
Mason denying Mills by staying in front of him and now boxing him out.
And Houston, with the daylight, able to knock down the 3. The Pistons lead 98-85, and the Knicks take a timeout.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob Page, and I will argue about what I think is the sorry state of college basketball with Dick Vitale right here on the next Page One.
Wanto Mitsubishi unleashes the power of the price wizard.
Your price is my command, and I'm granting powerful deals.
The 95 Galantiads at prices you've only dreamed of. 95 Eclipses at prices you won't find in Newsday. 95 Montero leasing at hundreds less. Wanto Mitsubishi sells and leases more in 1 month than most dealers do all year.
Wanto Mitsubishi, put my power to work for you.
Come to where everything Jeep is in plentiful supply, right here at East Hills Jeep Eagle in Roslyn. Hi, I'm Bob Nystrom for my good friends at East Hills Jeep Eagle in Roslyn. Whether you want to buy or lease the luxurious and practical Jeep Grand Cherokee or the sporty Jeep Wrangler, the car that legends are made of, you're certain to find the best deals anywhere, right here at East Hills Jeep Eagle in Roslyn. East Hills Jeep Eagle in Roslyn. Big selection, low prices, and plenty of smiling faces.
Catch this.
Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. It's the greatest show on earth.
Whoa.
Coming to Madison Square Garden March 23rd through April 30th. Buy tickets at the box office and Ticketmaster.
Well, if you came into this one later, you just love hoops. Tonight at 11:30, you can catch a replay of tonight's Knicks-Pistons game on Knicks Rewind right here on the MSG Network.
3 minutes, 36 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Allen Houston has been a weapon off the bench. Hit that three-pointer a moment ago to extend to a 13-point Detroit lead. And the Pistons 9 of 18 from downtown. Houston has 11 points. Here's Starks for three. Yes. And John Starks with his third three-pointer. So it cuts it to a 10-point lead. The Pistons have led by as many as 28. It appears to be over in the third quarter, but the Knicks have come back.
Mason is merciless on Mills, banging into him.
And Mason slapping for the ball, called for the foul.
Oh, you got to take your hat off to Mills. I mean, when he came down court, stopped at the foul line, Mason stopped him with a chest bump. And Mills kept responding, and he didn't let it upset him to the point where he threw the ball over the basket or off the backboard. He got the ball in the hole, overcoming some force of Mason.
Very strong game for the native of Detroit. Terry Mills, 17 points, along with 9 rebounds. Pistons 100, and the Knicks 88. Reach-in foul is called on Allen Houston. Now Hubert Davis will replace Anthony Bonner.
Pat Riley making the call for offense over the defensive skills of Bonner by bringing in Hubert.
And Pat going with the 3 guards, Hopper, Davis, and Starks. 2:40 to go in the fourth. Ewing from way out, and he is fouled. Running through by Oliver Miller. Patrick Ewing to the line, 6 of 7 at the line. Here's Mark Macon for Allen Houston. 4 of 7, 11 points for Houston, the second-year man from Tennessee. Now Bonner back for Davis. The Knicks 6 of 13 at the line in the second half. Make it 6 for 14 at the foul line. 12-point lead for the Pistons. Aiken and Dumars in the backcourt now with Mills, Miller, and Hill up front. Mills for Hill. Oh, what a pass to Miller, and it draws the foul.
That's when basketball is fun. Look at the smiling going on because of a pass. Goes under pressure, 3 people in the vicinity. Over the shoulder handoff by Grant Hill. And Oliver Miller goes to the line off that beautiful play.
Coming into tonight, the Knicks 6.5 games behind the leaders in the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic, and the Magic leading Indiana tonight by 19 with just under 7 minutes remaining in the game. So the Knicks could end the night 7.5 games back. Timeout has been called as a 20-second timeout with 2 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. Busy week for the Knicks. Following tonight, they head to Miami. Thursday night at the Miami Arena, they'll play the first of a home-and-home set against the Miami Heat. We'll be on hand starting at 7 Knicks game night. And that game will be seen on MSG2 on Thursday night. And then Friday, it'll be the Knicks and Miami from Madison Square Garden. Sunday, the Knicks are home for the Houston Rockets. That is Clyde Drexler and the Houston Rockets. There'll be an adjustment period, though, for the Rockets and Clyde, whose shot selection has been questioned. You wonder how he will play it when he arrives on the scene.
Reminds me of the man we drove here tonight when he arrived for the Knicks, Earl Monroe. Earl filling in for Clyde Frazier tonight on WFAN. And he underwent quite a change in his style.
Many questions asked, and as it turned out, they complemented each other extremely well.
Similar circumstances, too, coming to a championship team.
Both pulling back, particularly Earl. Making his block. And Starks bottled up, and he is fouled. John Starks will go to the line. Minute 35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Man with the headphones, Earl the Pearl Monroe.
I want to point out that when we met Earl in the lobby tonight to come to the game, he was dripping.
What a gamer.
Fever,
yes.
Fighting the cold and the flu, had it for days, and he's here. And he's cool.
I told Earl just a couple of spins, perhaps join the layup line, work it out during the pregame warm-ups.
And he made sure to say, not the dunking line.
Pistons 102, and the Knicks 89. 18 points for John Starks. Well, for the Detroit Pistons, a major scare in the second half, but they will hold on and bounce back from the ripping they took from the Charlotte Hornets just prior to the All-Star break. And a timeout taken by the Knicks with a minute and 15 remaining. In the fourth, we'll be back in a moment.
Today, along with Eagle Vision, we're here with baseball umpire Bill Morgan. What do you think?
I like Vision's aggressive styling. Got a nice wide stance, too.
Yeah, you want to take it for a test drive? You get a little extra time in your hands.
I'll say.
What's the call on the Vision?
Yeah, the 24 valve V6 really hustles. I like the looks of $1,700 off, too.
Yeah, you look good behind the wheel.
Thanks. Green's my favorite color.
It's black, Bill.
Oh, yeah. So it is.
Now get 3.9% financing on any Eagle.
Person needs to send resume to New York. Wants to make a big impression. Goes to post office. Finds out priority mail is a smart solution. Resume gets noticed. Person gets job. Now, if you can only get a cab. Team needs new jerseys. Person has to deliver them overnight. Goes to post office. Finds express mail is a smart solution. Guarantees delivery. Jerseys arrive on time. Person avoids getting sacked.
Junior Knicks fans, you can now become a member of the Knicks Fan Club, presented by Modell's Sporting Goods. Each member gets terrific team merchandise, an official membership certificate and badge, plus the Out of Bounds newsletter 4 times a year. For an application, call 201-784-9600.
Minute 15 remaining in this fourth quarter. The Pistons with a 102-89 lead, and the Knicks have suffered at the free throw line. Only 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter. 17 of 29 for the game. This is the start of a very difficult stretch for the Pistons, so Don Chaney has to be just delighted the way this has gone. Tomorrow night, Pistons play at Indiana, Friday at Chicago, Saturday at Charlotte. Mason posting up on Mills. And Dumars gets it up to Hill. The Knicks go to the trap. Does not work. Oliver Miller finishing it off. And the Pistons lead 104-89. Hopper for 3. So Derek Hopper's hit 2 from downtown in this fourth quarter. And the Pistons now lead 104-92. We're down to 40 seconds left in the game. Reach-in foul charged to Hopper. The Detroit Pistons about to stop the losing streak at the hands of the Knicks. The Knicks had won 6 straight. They swept the series last year, winning 4 out of 4. The last win by the Pistons over the Knicks, February 26th, 1993. That was here at the Palace, and that was a blowout, 108-80. 35 seconds left. Davis for 3. Ewing was stopped, and he was looking for a foul.
Omar, very possibly this is the highlight of the season for the Pistons. Terrific effort by them, great shooting performance. Nice beginning for the Pistons to start the second half. A team that's had a lot of injury problems, a lot of distractions. They've integrated their next superstar into their team very nicely. And that's a happy coach. Don Chaney, assisted by Brendan Malone, survivor of a number of years and changes in this franchise, a New Yorker. And a mighty fine guy.
Yes, and another one-time Boston Celtic standout, Casey Jones. Now, there he is, Casey on the staff of the Detroit Pistons. Technical foul on Anthony Mason, who seemed to be working in that direction. And Dumars able to hit the tee.
Well, the other side of it is, if that's the price in this game, I think Pat Riley will take it, because Mason brought his intensity and it spread. And the Knicks finished this game, even though in defeat, with their heads high, because it was a woeful performance for 3 quarters.
The Knicks showing lethargy in the first half, just did not seem to be in it. Like they had returned after a long vacation. 106-94, 20 points for Starks, and that will do it. The Detroit Pistons defeat the New York Knicks 106-94. For the Pistons, their 18th victory of the season. They're 18-29, and the Knicks 30 up and 17 down. The Pistons 106 and the Knicks 94. Will be back with the wrap-up in a moment.
Are you nervous about retirement investing, but afraid the boat may leave without you? Here's a comfortable thought. MetLife's credit.
Suzuki side.
Hill, clearly the star of the game. He finished with 25 points. The Knicks did not have any answers for him. Don Chaney certainly enjoying the proceedings as the Pistons go to 18-29. Not the case, though, for the New York Knicks, who dropped to a record of 30-17. Orlando appears to have its game well in hand against Indiana, so if they hang on, they will end the evening 7.5 in front of the New York Knicks. Right here, before we continue with our wrap-up, let's check in with Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk.
All right, Marv, thank you very much. Inexcusable performance by the Knicks tonight in suburban Detroit against a woeful Pistons team they should have beaten easily. And who knows, maybe this one game, a loss like this, could come back to haunt the Knicks in terms of positioning, home court advantage in the playoffs later on this season, just as one game last year came back to haunt the Knicks. The difference between having home court advantage in the NBA Finals or not, as was the case when they met the Houston Rockets. Well, such as they were, let's take a look at some of the highlights from tonight's contest. The Knicks did have Herb Williams back. They activated him today. His broken hand healed, and Greg Kite was waived. Patrick Ewing was especially horrendous in the early going. Air ball there. Ewing now missing a wide-open shot. In fact, Ewing missed his first 8 shots of the game. Well, the ball was knocked away, actually. Pat Riley pacing the sidelines nervously already. Grant Hill now blows by Anthony Bonner, who started tonight's contest. Hill had 25. Detroit led 16-6, well on the way. Joe Dumars goes right to the hoop for the layup. And Don Chaney and company were up 25-10. They led 25-12 going into the second quarter. More Grant Hill, who steals from Bonner, drives in for the flying layup. 58-33, and the lead for the Pistons over Riley and company was 63-38 at halftime. Now Terry Mills, the former Net, hits a three-pointer in the third quarter. The lead was 28, the biggest of the game. Mills had 17. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks staged a comeback. Ewing with a turnaround jumper. The lead was down to 91-80. He had 24 in the game. Now Anthony Mason gets position, lays it in. 94-85 New York on a 32-13 run, but Riley and company had just dug too big a hole for themselves early. Big three-pointer by Allen Houston here to help put it away, 98-85, and the Pistons coasted to their victory, as John Andrea said earlier. Perhaps the most important, or at least the most impressive victory that the Pistons have fashioned all season long. Nets are kicking off their second half of the season tonight across the Hudson at the Meadowlands Arena, playing host to the Charlotte Hornets. New Jersey has led wire to wire. Kenny Anderson is back in action tonight, coming off his injury. Derek Coleman not quite back yet. We'll have highlights of this game coming up for you on our full 15-minute show at 11 o'clock tonight, as well as post-game interviews from that one. Now, to the NBA scoreboard this evening, where the Orlando Magic are having no problems, coasting now with a 20-point lead over Indiana in the fourth quarter. Washington has lost 6 straight games. They are trailing by 2 at Minneapolis. That's in the third quarter. Milwaukee playing at Miami. As you see, Miami fired head coach Kevin Lockery earlier today and replaced him with assistant coach Alvin Gentry. Utah is losing at San Antonio. That one in the third quarter. Portland and Dallas now at halftime. If you missed a big trade from earlier, Clyde Drexler dealt along with Tracy Murray by Portland to the Houston Rockets in exchange for power forward Otis Thorpe. Houston on top of the Clippers, Atlanta, Denver, Boston at Sacramento, and Golden State, Seattle rounding out tonight's schedule. That is Bob Lanier's first game as head coach after the resignation of Don Nelson yesterday. In college basketball tonight, Connecticut is now has now won. The game is final. They have defeated Georgetown 91-85, and some local results for you from college basketball this evening. We have Iona, Loyola of Maryland, Niagara, and Siena. Now, Manhattan is also in action tonight, and Manhattan has won its game. We'll have highlights of that one and post-game interviews for you again at 11 o'clock tonight. These are Northeast Conference results. Fairleigh Dickinson by 20. Winning its contest. There's Wagner's victory at Mount St. Mary's, and Ryder is leading Monmouth 66-50 as they play in the second half. In hockey out on the Island this evening, the Islanders playing host to Quebec. 3-2, the Nordiques lead the Isles. Highlights of that one again, much more. We'll hear from George Foreman coming up on our full 15-minute show at 11 o'clock. We'll go back to suburban Detroit right after we pause for these messages.
With Grant Hill.
Thank you, Marv. Grant Hill, I just gave you a line you hadn't heard before. I congratulate you for your life. Everything seems to be going so well these days. Do you find yourself pinching yourself when you're waking up in the morning?
Definitely. It's been great. It's been a great weekend. It's been a great year. It's been a great life. And I'm just real fortunate that things have gone the way they have, and I've had a lot of people in my corner, and I'm just happy to be a Piston, happy to be playing basketball, and happy to be in the NBA. Well, it's also a reward for being a nice guy, too. You seem to be being pointed out for being a complete person as well, and everyone I'm sure is rooting for you. The NBA experience this weekend as the leading vote getter for the NBA All-Stars this year, the first time a rookie has ever had that reward and that honor. What was your feeling for the weekend you just went through?
Well, it was a great feeling. A lot of things go on at the All-Star game. It's a lot of fun. Forget about winning the votes. Just being there, being with Ewing, being Olajuwon guys that, I told Pat when I was there, I used to follow him back when I was 11, 12 years old, and he didn't want to hear that. It made him feel old. But these are guys that I've just followed all throughout my career, my life, and to be on the same court with them, it was a weird feeling. I wanted to get all their autographs. I didn't feel part of things. I just felt like a fan who won a fantasy vacation to play with the All-Star team. So it was just a great fun, and hopefully I can make another one.
I'm sure you will. And you went from the All-Star weekend, of course, to yesterday, an appearance on the David Letterman Show after receiving the national honor at the ESPY Awards as college basketball's outstanding player last year. By the way, a little jealousy from my broadcast partner. You're challenging Marv now for appearances per month on the David Letterman Show. You're now 2 for 2 over the last 2 months. Did you enjoy that experience?
Oh, I had a good time, but Marv doesn't have to worry. I was just a fill-in. I wasn't booked. I was just a fill-in if somebody canceled. So, but I had a lot of fun, and it's been a busy week, busy month, but things are starting to settle down now, and I can just concentrate on playing basketball and trying to get this team into the playoffs.
Grant, you made a remark last night on the Letterman Show about your dad interested in buying, or being a partner rather, in a group effort to buy the Washington Bullets. Is there something to that, and is that something you'd like to see happen?
I made a mistake last night. I shouldn't have said that. And my dad, Dave, I don't know where he threw that question out from left field. My dad is interested in owning a professional franchise, or with a group who's interested in owning a professional franchise. You know, if it happens, it happens. But I'm happy to be here in Detroit. I couldn't play for my father. He put too much pressure on me. You know, he may pay me more money, but I couldn't play for him. So it'd be neat to go and beat his team on a consistent basis.
Gran, you had a phenomenal night tonight while making 11 straight shots at one point. Rookies that come into the league in this intensity level of sports often hit the wall. It's kind of an expected thing where you look at a college season where you maybe play 30, 35 games at the most. Now you're at that point now. Do you feel possibly that you could hit that wall?
Well, I try not to focus on the negative. I want to focus on the positive. You know, I think I have somewhat of an advantage because I was out. I was injured for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was able to get rejuvenated. I feel like I'm back in training camp. You know, I'm going to go out there and play hard, and if I hit the wall, I hit the wall. But I'm going to go out there and give it my all and not worry about that. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, great.
Certainly no signs of it tonight, and congratulations on a terrific effort and all-around game, and we wish you the best of luck, Grant.
Thanks a lot.
Let's get back to Marv now.
Hill leads the way with, well, Grant Hill leads the way with 25 points as the Pistons defeat the Knicks 106 to 94. Orlando has knocked off Indiana 111 to 92 in Orlando, so the Knicks are now 7.5 behind the leaders in the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic. The Knicks resume Thursday night at Miami. Miami Heat now coached by Alvin Gentry, and they are on their way to a victory against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Kevin Lockery was fired earlier in the day. We'll have it for you on MSG2 starting at 7 o'clock with Knicks game night on Thursday. The Knicks post-game report is coming up here on MSG. That will include the Pat Riley post-game news conference. Madison Square Garden announces clothing is provided by Perry Ellis Menswear. So from the Palace of Auburn Hills, that will conclude our coverage of the game broadcast. Back with the post-game in just a moment.
New York Knicks basketball has been brought to you by Ice Draft. Taste the future of draft beer. New Ice Brewed Ice Draft from Budweiser. By Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp, because great hair can't have flakes. By AT&T International Business Services. Let AT&T work for you. By the Discover Card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Catch great college basketball doubleheader action at Madison Square Garden. It's the Apex Challenge, Saturday, February 18th. The night tips off with Fordham meeting the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in Game 1, immediately followed by an important MAC conference tilt as the high-flying Manhattan Jaspers face Siena. Don't miss the Apex Challenge at the Garden, Saturday, February 18th. Get your tickets now. The Apex Challenge is presented by Model Sporting Goods. Gotta go to Mo. Knicks fans, the official yearbook of the 1994-95 New York Knicks is here. This 140-page edition gives you a close-up look at the entire team with full-color action photos, plus photos from last year's exciting charge to the NBA Finals. Even a special section commemorating the silver anniversary of the Knicks' first World Championship team. For your copy, send the $11 check or money order to Knicks Yearbook, 2 Penn Plaza, New York, 10121. Attention, Debbie.
Welcome back to the Palace of Auburn Hills for the Knicks post-game report. The Detroit Pistons over the New York Knicks 106 to 94, and with Orlando beating Indiana, the Knicks now 7.5 games behind the leaders in the Eastern Conference. A very poor first half for the Knicks, held to only 12 points in the first quarter, and then picked it up in the second half and cut into that lead that was once 28, but fell short. We're set now to listen in on the Pat Riley postgame news conference.
It was about as bad a malaise as we've been in for a long time, back when we were 12-12. We just did not come back and compete at all. We didn't compete for position. We didn't bang people. We don't have the kind of skill that if we're not playing hard and tough to, you know, we can get, it happened to us, and that happened to us in the first half. We're not even in it, not even close to being in it. So it's a loss.
Pat, the bench scoring for Detroit kind of dominated tonight.
We let the shooters shoot the ball. We let the drivers drive the ball. We let the post-up players get as deep as they wanted in the post. So you don't play defense like that. You're not going to compete. We didn't compete till we were 25 down. At least we tried to make some hard plays, you know. And, you know, the drivers drove. Their post-up players posted at will, and their shooters shot. What else are you going to do?
Pat, you guys are 26% in the first quarter. You think that might have dictated what happened
We were
later?
awful. We couldn't catch it, couldn't shoot it, couldn't make a layup. I mean, we were just bad. We played a bad game. You know, a bad game. Everybody. There wasn't one player. You know. And then they let up a little bit, being 26, 27 ahead. And, you know, we got back into it, had a chance at it. You know, then we had to speed the game up a little bit. But we weren't not ready to play, you know. So I mean, this has been a problem ever since I've been here after the All-Star break. For some reason, we come back, and last year's New Jersey, and every year it's somebody right after. Don't come back ready, you know. Get your head handed to you 3 or 4 times, and they decide to play again, you know. And that's from 1 through 12. Listen, anybody in that locker room should feel good about anything. They all should look at themselves and go, well, we go down to Miami, we're going to work our ass off, we're going to keep working.
Does it surprise you, though, considering how you are committed?
Yeah. Well, we commit. You can talk about it. Talk is cheap. You know, and that's what happens. It goes in one ear and out the other. You know, I mean, if they were really committed to getting off to a good start, they wouldn't have come out the first half like we did. I mean, Detroit was off. I mean, Grant Hill, he was in New York getting awards, going on the David Letterman show last night. He didn't even have practice.
You got Miami twice in a row.
Yeah, we got to be ready to play down there. They beat us at home, and we were down 12 down there, 15 down there, and came back and won it. But, you know, we got to play harder. Nothing else.
Thanks, Pat.
Well, as you might expect, Pat Riley not very happy about what he saw, particularly in the first half, and echoing our thoughts. Grant Hill missing the practice, and obviously in this case it was not needed. And he came out and blistered the Knicks for 25 points. We'll be back with more in a moment.
The New York Knicks postgame report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
Track. Up-to-the-minute delivery information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You may never know where you'll be at any given moment.
Where am I? At an airport.
But you'll always be able to track your package. UPS, moving at the speed of business.
You know, going over these highlight films, I think I have found a new all-star. The all-new Lincoln Continental. Gets out on the fast break. Moves like nobody else. I think we got a franchise player here.
Your Tri-State Lincoln dealers invite you to experience the all-new V8-powered Lincoln Continental, the perfect balance of luxury and technology.
The New York Knicks postgame report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
for the Detroit Pistons, the end of a 6-game losing streak against the Knicks. Pistons 106 and the Knicks 94. Look at the leading scorers summary brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Look at the high point men for the Pistons. Grant Hill, 11 of 15 in his 33 minutes of play. 25 points, also had 8 assists and 5 rebounds. Strong game for Terry Mills, 6 of 11 shooting. 17 points along with 9 rebounds. Joe Dumars had 14. Mark West with 12 points, 6 of 9 from the field and 7 rebounds. And Allen Houston off the bench hit 3 of 4 from downtown for his 11. Raphael Addison, a strong first half. He's been shooting well as of late. And Addison with 11 points. The Knicks led by Patrick Ewing. Slow start for Ewing. Missed his first 8 shots. Finished 9 of 21 in 43 minutes of play. 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks for Ewing. John Stark, 7 of 16, 3 of 8 from downtown. He had 20 points. Charles Smith with 15. Anthony Mason helped lead the comeback in the second half. He finished with 14. And Derek Harper did not get into it until late. Had a couple of 3-point shots in the fourth quarter and finished with 10 points. The Knicks shooting, due to the good second half, 47%, because they were brutal in the first half. And Detroit hovered around the 60% shooting mark most of the way. They finished at 54, had the edge off the boards. In the assist department, the Knicks with a 25-23 advantage. And you can see Detroit did it off the bench. Pat Riley warning the Knicks, I know, prior to the game about, as he put it, the malaise of last season following the All-Star break. The Knicks did have their problems last year, and the Knicks open up with a weak performance here tonight as they return to the action.
Pat's trying to set the tone now for the second half of the year. All of a sudden, there are only 35 games left of the 82-game season, and to get the Knicks to think like champions, like real contenders, and tonight they just ignored it. They didn't abide by the ground rules of thinking and thinking like champions at all. They didn't play with their heads at all, and there's a bad pattern of waiting to let games evolve and then seeing if they can come back with a big finish, as they have done many times. And that's what he's trying to shake, so they can start the game tough and go 4 quarters tough instead of 2 quarters tough, as they did in the second half tonight.
And it's a tough stretch coming up. Home-and-home series with Miami, and then back at Madison Square Garden on Sunday to face the NBA defending champion Houston Rockets, who now have a fellow by the name of Clyde Drexler in their lineup. Let's check in once again with Bob Page. Bob?
We'll have a busy show for you coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. In addition to highlights of the Knicks game you've just seen, we'll take you across the river to the Meadowlands Arena. We'll have Nets highlights of their contest with Charlotte, as well as post-game interviews. We'll also have post-game interviews from local college basketball in the area. Manhattan is in action tonight against St. Peter's. We'll look at the University of Connecticut's first game since gaining the top-ranked national nod. They're playing at Georgetown this evening. Islanders hosting Quebec. Much more in our 15-minute show coming up at 11 o'clock right here tonight.
Okay, the shot's set, everyone's smiling, and then no flash. Next time, use Energizer batteries that nobody beats the Whiz. They just keep on going.
You're walking back to the parking lot after shopping or work.
Even more than award.
5 for CDs plus $4 shipping to Instrumental Magic, P.O. Box 1111-LG, Monument, Colorado.
The dunk of the game is brought to you by Ice Draft. Taste the future of draft beer. New ice-brewed Ice Draft from Budweiser.
Time now for the Ice Draft dunk of the game, and one of the few highlights for the Knicks tonight. Greg Anthony with a rebound, a long pass down court. Anthony Mason on the receiving end, and Charles Smith in for the Ice Draft dunk of the game.
So that about wraps things up with the Detroit Pistons here at the Palace defeating the New York Knicks 106-94. The Knicks dropped to 30-17, and they are now 7.5 games behind the leaders in the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic. Orlando beating Indiana 111-92. Our next Knicks broadcast coming up on MSG2 Thursday night. The Knicks going up against the Miami Heat. Knicks game night starting at 7. Will be on hand at 7:30. Coming up next, NBA action to be joined in progress. This is Marv Albert with John Andre saying so long from the Palace of Auburn Hills.